Hey everybody, Nick Espinoza, your chief security fanatic here, and today we're actually talking about the right to repair because a national right to repair law may soon be here in the United States, and here's what you need to know. Now, this is coming from Gizmodo. Now, the right to repair movement has made it to Congress. Yesterday, on Thursday, Congressman Joseph Morell of New York State filed legislation that would make it easier for consumers to fix broken gadgets without having to basically pay a lot more money to the original manufacturer. Apple, I'm looking at you. Now, if passed, the Fair Repair Act would require manufacturers to give device owners and third-party repair shops access to replacement parts, diagnostic information, and tools needed to repair their electronics. To date, most right to repair legislation has been introduced at the state level. This bill would create a nationwide standard across all 50 states. And I quote the congressman, for too long, large corporations have hindered the progress of small business owners and everyday Americans from preventing them from the right to repair their own equipment. It's long past time to level the playing field and put the power back in the hands of consumers. This common sense legislation will make technology repairs more accessible and affordable for items from cell phones to laptops to farm equipment, finally giving individuals the autonomy they deserve. Now, under Morell's bill, the Federal Trade Commission would be allowed to penalize companies in violation of this legislation. Penalties could include forcing manufacturers to pay damages or even give refunds to customers for the equipment that they have purchased. As it stands, you typically have to go through manufacturers' official repair channels to get your device fixed, which obviously can be very expensive and time-consuming. Not to mention, it's kind of insane since you already pay for the product in the first place, and no one wants to shell out a whole bunch of money for basically a broken iPhone when a cheap fix could possibly solve the issue. The right to repair movement aims to make device repair less of a headache for consumers while also planning to push back against the trend of planned obsolescence, a practice in which manufacturers create products that are designed to be needlessly phased out. Essentially, and here we are. It gets thrown out. It starts increasing the e-waste pile that we have going on in the world, and that's obviously a huge problem. So far, 27 states have begun working on some form of this legislation. Obviously, that would be superseded, by a nationwide law. Now, companies like Apple and John Deere, maker of tractors, both are notorious for enforcing some of the most restrictive repair policies, basically to the detriment of their customers, argue that these restrictions are necessary to prevent intellectual property theft and maintain devices' integrity. However, the FTC called them out on this, on those arguments last month. In a lengthy report to Congress, the FTC said that there is scant evidence to justify basically the hoops that companies are making consumers jump through when it comes to repairs. Now, I think this is actually needed, and I did a video, I want to say about a year or two ago, called "The Right to Repair Was Going to Get Somebody Killed," and that's, I think, the one loophole that we would be possibly talking about here. In fact, now that I'm thinking about it, I'm sure it was during the pandemic, and in that one, it would be basically, I would say, the one right to repair thing that may be null and void, or maybe should not have the right to repair would be, let's say, very serious medical equipment that is designed to keep somebody alive. Providing those repairs are done by somebody that is qualified for that, meaning, let's say, a third party, I'm totally fine with that. But the last thing I want to do is tinker with my own ventilator and then it breaks in an emergency or something along those lines. Other than that, iPhones, John Deere tractors, all of that, I think, are totally in bounds here for this kind of thing. But it's also going to be really interesting because Apple is notorious for making their products incredibly difficult to disassemble. The new iMac that is like razor thin, that's the iMac desktop, apparently most of it is actually sealed with glue. And so as you are going through to repair this, you have to unseal it, basically pull the glue off, all this kind of stuff. It's going to be a very difficult thing to do. But if this bill comes to fruition, I predict, at least initially, we're going to see a lot of people attempting to repair their Apple products, Apple specifically, although, a lot of them are moving in that direction, the Samsungs and Microsofts of the world as well. We may see a lot of people with broken stuff putting this out on YouTube or Twitter or whatever they're going to do, basically saying, I tried to fix this iPhone and it's all glued together and now I can't glue it back, or I've got these kinds of problems, which may force Apple to actually change their design to make it easier to disassemble under this law, which therefore would then make it easier to recycle for e-waste, thus completing that circle. So we'll see where this goes. I think this is a good thing. Overall, if you've got a gadget, you should be able to tinker with it. You know, ideally not something that is there to save your life, but everything else I think is fair game. Let me know what you think. And please like, share, follow me here on Facebook and Twitter at NickAESP. And please feel free to subscribe to me at YouTube as well. And as always, stay safe and stay online. Thanks, everyone.